Well, good morning, everybody. It's the 18th. It's a Monday here in Fiji. We're still here, and they're off. A few boats are underway, so that's kind of cool. So we're back to our regular updates and a few reminders while we're waiting for people to turn up. Hopefully they'll turn up. We only guarantee one tracker a week, which is Friday, but we do it as often as we can. So because we're getting ready to travel again, we've just made new plans. So we'll be heading back to China for a week, and then heading back to Les Sables d'Olonne for a few days, and then heading back to the UK for a week or so, and then back to Les Sables d'Olonne. So we're going to be a bit all over the place. A lot of things going on. One of them is Jane has to get her Cape Town visa, and that's a real complication. Long story. The last two times we've been into Cape Town, she's never managed it. So went in by myself. Or Ada was there as well. You know, had a few people doing bits and pieces, but it was impossible for Jane to get her visa into Cape Town. So now we have a plan, and it'll mean she's got to sit in China for 3 weeks while she's waiting for that. I've got to go across to the UK. We've got another boat, which is our Swan 57 called Explorer, which we use for the Ocean Globe race, and we're in the just sort of started a bit of a refit, new paint job on the hull, beautiful. We've got to do engineering and electrical, and the rigs are out and all that stuff, so I can't do that by remote control. So we're off to England, and I got to be back in Les Sables d'Olonne because it'll be 12 months celebration before the start of the next GGR. So a lot going on. So yeah, we're on the hard now. We've got to pack the boat up for cyclone season, all that stuff. So we didn't get our sailing in, but there you go. And we've got a few boats underway. So that's kind of fun. We'll talk about a few bits at the end. Not all are there, but it's kind of interesting to watch what's going on, even from the start. So here's the tracker. Now I'll make a public announcement here, and I'm only going to make it once. If we look at the track here, you can see the course. Well, there's no one officially going into Darwin now. They're all going to head along here. And we come along the bottom of Indonesia, and the Australian government has advised us that there is what most people would call pirate activity along the coast and anywhere out here. There's transiting vessels, and there has been some issues. So what you're going to see on the tracker is a relative position and a relative discussion, but the accuracy of the positions of the boats has an error factor built in so that no one could use this tracker to rendezvous with boats inappropriately. So you're going to have to bear with us on that, but it will be indicative of what's going on. You'll see the first thing that happens is there is potentially a 4-hour delay, but that's only part of the system. But we thought about this, whether how we're going to manage it, because they're, as I say, I'll come back to here. They're going to be relative positions, not real positions, but it's still a discussion, and you'll get a feel for what's going on. So that's about all we'll say. So that'll carry on for the next couple of thousand miles, and you can still follow the race and get a feel for it and so on. So we're not overly concerned. The entrants themselves actually wanted us to put in a northern limit in the course, and that's not what we do as an event organizer. Bearing in mind they're individual voyages, they can go wherever they want. We have a set of rules, but it's all sort of part of the course. Anyway, so we decided not to put a northern limit on the course, because otherwise it's follow the leader. They just go from dot to dot to dot. We leave those risk assessments and value judgments for the entrants themselves to decide exactly what they want to do and where they want to go. That's part of being a good seaman. You do your own risk assessment, and every cruising boat that's leaving Australia heading west is given the same advice from Australian Customs, and they'll work out their own tracks. So the entrants themselves will have to do the same thing. So that's the situation. So the first thing you'll notice is that there is a 4-hour delay on the positions that we even talk about, the relative positions. The other thing is that we, all the rescue, we have a secret code to get into the real positions. Okay, and that's given to all the rescue coordination centres through this part of the track, which is effectively Australia. So Australia will know the how to access the accurate positions if we need them. Okay, enough of that. So yes, it was a fun stay in Thursday Island with the crocodiles and sharks and the wind and all those sorts of things. But we've got some boats out there, and there'll be more leaving tomorrow as well. And it looks, there's the breeze, so we've got the breeze in there, and I'll put the grids in. Captain Coconut's well and truly on his way to Darwin. He's going to go through this little gap by the look of it. I've never come in close there. We've always stayed up here, but he's going to have some fun. He might go and anchor there. I'm not sure. Okay, I'll come up one more size, move this down here so you can see what's going on. At the end of it, we'll talk about their stay and the things they did. So we've got Peeler's taken off, Daniel, Kerry, and Reno still in the lead. So these are their relative positions are accurate. Relative positions are good. And Peeler was doing 3.8 knots at one stage, 14 miles since she left. Dan doing 5.8 knots and had 57 miles underway, but he'd been gone. He hadn't been out for that long. Kerry, a bit the same, 3.9 knots, 90 miles since when he started. And Renault, 105 miles since he started, 4.5 knots. So they haven't been out there, for the full 24 hours, of course. But in terms of distance, here we go, point to point, about 15 miles. You're remembering, of course, that Kerry caught up an hour or so coming into Thursday Island because he got the current and Renault dipped out. So it's put him a bit closer. So Kerry about 14 miles behind. Dan within, he's holding his 50 miles near enough, 47 miles. I think he got into Thursday on about 50 miles behind. So that's pretty cool. And Peeler just inside under the 100-mile distance. So she's well and truly in this league pack. And what can she do? She's really hungry. She's keen. She's on the hunt. She's really going for it. We had a few messages on bits and pieces, and going to be fun to watch this league group and then the others following up behind. So that's in terms of the weather now. We'll just come back here, look at the weather and the currents. I'll get rid of that. Weather going forward for the next couple of days. I actually haven't had a look at it, actually. So here we go. Every few hours. There's a bit of a soft spot there. Not for long. Just a bit of a disturbance. Generally speaking, it's not too bad. There goes the first 24 hours. Oh, it's coming up with a puff. So the guys and girls starting behind will get a bit more breeze, maybe. Oh, no, there's another puff going through there. So probably very similar. But for sure, they've got effectively a nice trade wind going through there. And a big puff on the 21st. It's 3 days away. So, okay, so there's not a lot to see there. But that's okay. They'll make good time. They'll all be doing their 120-mile days. And currents in here. Currents, boom. Let's just push this forward. So they've got a big kick there, but then pretty nothing. It's pretty benign there. It all starts to happen later on. It's a bit contrasty. But you can see this is 3 hours. That's the difference every 3 hours, which is crazy. You can see it's all over the place. That's where it plays havoc with the sea state. As you can see here, you just got a little current coming down there, but it's probably half a knot. That's enough to change the sea state during the course of those, during the course of that timeline. There you've got a big one. So, and that's holding through. Then it's a bit there. So, yeah, this was challenging for us. This is when we went across here with the bounty boat. This was all very challenging for the next series. We were actually only going into Kapang, which is West Timor. And I'll show you where it is, but I'll explain what happened to us when we did this one. We were coming over here, right to the left, Kapang. So we only went from Thursday on across there, but during that time we had, I think it was 3 occasions when we were hit, mainly by waves, and just dropped on our side, flooded the boat. At one stage the mast went below the water, like went beyond 90 degrees, went down to about 110 degrees. We had 2 people under the little cover, screaming and yelling. It was night time, so grab your jacket, but we didn't go all the way over. We managed to hold it with the mast flat on the water and come up. So, and that was so this is where it all happened for us because of these uncomfortable little waves. But 580 is not a problem. It's got a keel, and it's got a deck, and this, that, and the other. So that's what we used to dream about, and that's where the idea of this race, one of the ideas for a plywood boat that fits in a container started. So anyway, the currents are interesting. What clouds have they got at the moment? Bit of a mixed bag for them. So they'll be enjoying the ride. They'll be happy to be out because it was all kind of interesting, the Thursday night stopover. I think I've done everything there, so I'll come back here. Yeah, so Thursday Island, you probably saw we were going to. They've been making incredibly fast time. Renault was averaging over 100. Over. I think it was 5.5 knots or something for the whole trip from Fiji to Thursday Island, which is fast. And then it was about 130 something miles a day every day for the whole trip. And we passage plan on 100 miles a day. That's the sort of slow boats, and that's sort of they're a little bit ahead of that. And the fast boats, we passage that on 120 miles a day. And we've got this objective that we don't, for a few different reasons, we don't want to be arriving into Cape Town before the 1st of December. And based on the movement of the fleet at the moment, they've got plenty of time. So we may extend time in Cocos. We've already conceded we're going to extend time in Mauritius because it's quite an interesting place. They're due to stop there. I think it's for 9 days, if I remember rightly, and we'll be extending that by a few days, couple of days, depending on how it goes down the line. But they're going to get a couple of days extra in Cocos, I think. So that's easy. There's some pictures here. It was good to see Alenka made it up there. Alenka's one crazy lady building her boat. That was what's good about this picture. I'll leave that to think about. Look at those flags and leak cloths. There's a bit of an issue going on there at the moment, and it's not over until all the boats leave. But anyway, we'll talk about that on a future tracker update. But this was Alenka doing the rounds, picking everyone up for dinner. There's Alenka. She's got hull number 2. You might have seen the post. And it's an amazing story. She's building the boat under a tarp, not even a tent. Anyway, the classic story is this is in Brisbane. There was a flood comes through, and it took it nearly to the waterline to lift up the boat. Big floods in Brisbane, major, I won't call major disaster, but it was all over, and this whole area flooded, and it came up and it nearly floated away. So doing an amazing job. She's a solo builder, doing everything by herself. And I think in the conversation, 4 or 5 years ago, she said, I never even built an IKEA table. Can I do it? And I said, yeah, of course you can. And she is, and she's doing a great job. And she has a very busy lifestyle. With work and all these other activities she does. But the deck's on. It's all pretty much sealed up, and the fun part starts very shortly. So same with all the builders. Once they've got the structure, you start bolting things on. She's a great sailor too, sailing all the time. So that'll be a bit of fun. Got a lot of Australian builders. I think that's all that I had there. Yeah, that was the view these were her shots when she arrived. It was an impromptu decision to go up there. You probably saw the post. Anyway, it's good to see the builders catch up with other builders. Okay, what else can I tell you? They pretty much couldn't go swimming, didn't want to use their little tenders, so they're on the anchor. And in the end, no one really liked the idea of staying there for an extra day, so we brought it back to the standard 5 days, and they'll get going, and we'll see how it goes. That whole issue about Darwin, it'll be wiped out for the next edition in 29. We won't even think about Darwin. At one stage everyone was going to Darwin, and then they weren't. So I set the times up, and they wanted to change it back the other way, and in the end, no one went there anyway. So that's cool, and they'll be looking forward to Cocos. That's quite the different scenario. Beautiful tropical island paradise. You've probably seen it all. So that'll happen sooner rather than later. Anyway, we're back in the swing of things. We'll see you tomorrow. Adrian, g'day, Adrian. Thanks. SA in South Africa are in BRICS. Why the problem for Jane getting into Cape Town? It's just their visa process. The first story was amazing. It was the legitimate government online process to get a visa. Okay, she went through that process, and it turns out that was a scam. It was a scam. This is the government. The corruption was so bad that when you do the search, because they just weren't responding, you send the money, do all the forms, everything's fine, and then it just all shuts down. And if you Google it online, you'll see And the government online bloody visa thing was a complete scam. So blew the money, gone, and tried to get meetings. You can't apply for more than 3 months before you go, which is also a problem for us because we're using the passports all the time, going here, there, and everywhere. So the timeline was difficult. Try to get a meeting in with the embassy in Paris to do all the stuff, and that was a nightmare as well. And they said, "Oh, you can't, blah blah blah." So get it all in. I think it was going to take another 3 months or something to get it through the process. So it was just missed the timelines, and we just said, "Bugger it, just go. You can't do it." And then what happened the next time? What happened the next time?
I need to go to UK for OGR.
Oh yeah, we had everything in. Jane sent everything to China to submit it through the Chinese system, which was going to take 21 working days. But just at the time she did it, the embassy staff in China changed, right? And they brought up these new delays, which was going to take it to, instead of 21 days, it was going to, 21 working days or whatever it was going to take out another 3 weeks. But we had timelined it really short. We had to cancel that application and get the passport back because we had to go to England to the start of the OGR. So she didn't get her visa because then the timeline was too short. So that's second time. But hopefully now this will happen. It should do so. But she's got to wait in China because we go from here to China and she'll wait there, submit the passport and stuff, and then it's done. But I've got to keep going. Anyway, sideline discussion. But Cape Town's a great place, but it's challenging. Good luck with the leg. Thanks, Brenda. Morning, Ilsa. Captain Coconut heading to the hole in the wall cut. Yeah, something like that. I don't know whether that's really what it's called, but never had a look at that. But it's going through the gate. Okay, I'll leave it at that, and we'll see you tomorrow. Watch this. Beep.